Good evening. My name is John, and this is the Homestead Diary. You might be asking yourself, why are you standing there in the dark with a headlamp in your face? Well, the reason is my wife came to me and said, let's go for a walk, one of our 15-minute dates. And I said, okay. And then she said, but let's do a little bit different. Let's go for a mow. And I said, okay. And she said, well, so I'm going to ride the mower, and you're going to walk behind me picking up rocks. And I said, where are we going? And she said, oh, we're just going to go down to the lower field. Where Dustin brushed out basically a road-wide path from one end of the field to the other. We're going to go down there and we're going to mow that. And I said, okay, sounds good. I'm hungry, so I need a snack, but then let's go do this. And so we did. And we got a couple of passes in, and then the mower started making all sorts of interesting noises. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because we were hitting so many rocks. And it got so loud that I just said, shut it down. Like, we cannot continue this because something is broken. And I was convinced that the mower deck rebuild that I did a few weeks back, one of the spindles, the brand new spindles, had broken. And fortunately, I think after looking underneath it, that isn't exactly what happened. And so I'm going to very gracefully lay down here in the gravel and hopefully show you what it is I think is the problem. So, hopefully you can see this. There are 3 blades, and this blade, solid. This blade, not so much. I think what happened is the bolt going up into the spindle loosened because it hit so many rocks. I'm hoping that that's what it is. I mean, I do have the old spindles, a couple that were still good, and I can replace that if necessary, but it would be really awesome not to have to, if I can just tighten that up and away we go. So, we shall see. All right, I'm gonna attempt to stand back up and hopefully not get too many rocks in my side. Oh, coming up. I made it. Back to my feet again. Let's see if we can get the angle of the headlamp just right again. Ooh, that's much better. Momentary pause. So, anyway, this little incident got me thinking about the fact that my wife is hard on equipment. She has a tendency to push equipment past what it's designed to do. And I know that that's relatively common. People like to say, well, I should be able to use this standard finish hammer to drive a 6-inch spike. And then they take half an hour trying to drive the spike. But usually you don't break your hammer. But my wife has a gift for, in particular, breaking this mower. And we had the realization that it's her job to break things and it's my job to fix things. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. That's kind of the role as the man is you fix stuff. You make things work, and then your family uses it, sometimes abuses it, and breaks it. And that's just the way it is. Not a big deal. But then upon further reflection, I started thinking about people. We are going into a time, as is more and more apparent, that is getting more and more difficult for people. When we got to Missouri, a gallon of milk was $4.10. It is now $4.50. And pretty much across the board, we're seeing a 10 to 15% rise in prices. And there are anomalies, like when they decided to have their T-bone steak sale for $6 a pound. And so, of course, we bought $100 worth of T-bones, because how often do you get that? But generally speaking, things are getting harder. Things are getting more difficult. Employment, even though people say they want to work, they've learned that if they just hang out a lot of them, they can get enough money to get by. They're getting their welfare check or support from the local food bank, church, cleaner organization, whatever it is, and they're happy to sit around and smoke their weed and play their video games. And we have run into a lot of those types of people through the years, and because the people who are capable, like ourselves, generally don't ask for help. They find a way to make it work. And because we are open and we are loving and we try to behave as much as possible in a Christ-like manner, doing what Jesus would do, taking in the strangers, taking in the people that need help, and building them up and pouring into them and helping them get back on their feet. We have made a life of doing that. And the problem is, we are hard on people. We are really hard on people because we're hard on ourselves. We drive ourselves from the time we get up until pretty much the time we go to bed. Other than meal times, we don't sit down. We go all the time. And when someone comes to us and says, I need help, or we recognize that someone is struggling and we offer help, we demand of them what we demand of us. And maybe that's not fair, but we get tired of playing patty cake with people. We get tired of worrying about people's feelings and worrying about the idea that, they might get upset. You know what, buddy? The reason you are in your predicament that you're in right now, where you can't pay your rent or you can't get food or whatever it is because of the choices you are making over and over and over again. I know people who bust their butt working 60, 80 hours a week, building someone else's dream, thinking that it's theirs. And they're not willing to change what they're doing. We've tried to mentor people like that. We've tried to mentor hard workers. We've tried to mentor the lazy. And really, the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. A lot of times we just appear and that student isn't ready. Now, we've had some amazing success stories of people that were in a really bad shape. And we were able to give them enough of a boost, enough of a rest, enough of a pause, that today they have great jobs, they own homes, they're doing good raising their kids. And it's not because of us necessarily. We happen to be the hands and feet of the Father. And we were given the opportunity to pour into these individuals. And another person who is willing to be that hands and feet could have done the same thing. We just happened to be the right people at the right time. But so many people just can't take the pressure of, okay, so it's 10 o'clock in the morning, time to put your work shoes on, let's go to work. It's noon, hey, time to wake up, we're working, let's do stuff. Those sorts of people, we break them. And I don't mean in a good way. We are so hard on them, like, hey, I'm not your daddy. It's not my job to get you out of bed. If you're not willing to help, get out. And so it's difficult because you can't very easily teach adults discipline. And you would think, the military does a pretty good job. But on the other hand, with the military, you sign a contract and they literally own you. We don't own people. We don't have that luxury. All we can really do is push and hope. And sometimes people wake up, sometimes they don't. But like this mower, most of them can be fixed if they're willing to take a second and listen to people who have done it and who are willing to work. We never ask anybody to do something that we aren't also willing to do. Hey, I need help putting in a foundation. I'm going to get underneath the house with you. In fact, I'll go first and I'll sweep the cobwebs out of the way because I know you're afraid of spiders or whatever. We're willing to do that kind of work. My wife is amazing. She'll just dive into stuff. It's crazy how she just goes after things. And we try to instill that kind of spirit in other people. And maybe you're one of those people that's watching this now, and we tried with you, and for whatever reason, you decided that you no longer like us. Tough. We tried our best, and you didn't pan out for whatever reason. And whether it was some other individual talking in your ear, just kind of whispering and telling you nonsense, or maybe you're just not cut out to survive what's coming. It's a difficult thing to consider. It's a really difficult thing because the rising food prices and the rising fuel prices and the political chaos that's going on and the invasion at our borders, things are getting ready to change. We've had a long, long period, basically since the end of World War II, of peace and prosperity. And yeah, there's this and that that's gone on, but generally speaking, we have been very fortunate as a nation and as a people to have stability. And even if there's craziness going on here or there in the country because of whatever, generally speaking, by and large, things have been calm, things have been safe, and this has been an era of plenty. And that era is coming to an end. Little by little, but faster and faster, things are unraveling. Are you ready? Are you ready to be taken under the wing of somebody like myself and my wife and bust your butt in the field to grow food so you can survive? Or are you going to go to the city and just hang out and say, well, they'll take care of me? Oh yeah, they'll take care of you. They might even pay off your debt for you, but it's going to come at a price because you're going to have to get an injection. You're going to have to go to digital currency. They're going to bombard you with all sorts of things that are going to make you ill. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but they are gradually going to break you. And you will very soon be a shadow of your former self because you are unwilling to live. You are unwilling to work, to be free. Freedom is not free. It's a cliche, I know, but you have to be willing to do. You be, you do, and then you have. You don't just have. And unfortunately, our nation is soft. And a lot of people are going to get what they deserve because they're unwilling to do. Not exactly the most exciting thing to be talking about, but hey, here I am in the dark contemplating a broken mower, and it's time for supper. So anyway, hope you all found some value in the video, and I hope you all have a blessed night.